I'm here with my guests, Mark Jackson of Blue Dolphin Engineering and Kent Pelisseri of the Pie Shop, and they are here to discuss their operation and what they've been doing to create PPE during the pandemic. Kent, Mark?
Yeah, thanks for having us. So a little background, Blue Dolphin Engineering. I started Blue Dolphin Engineering 22 years ago. My schooling was, I was educated as a mechanical engineer at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and worked for a variety of different industries, including aerospace, and one of the first commercial rocket ventures years ago, way before SpaceX. And after having done, worked for a number of different companies doing state-of-the-art stuff, I decided to start my own business. And so 22 years ago, started out. And so for the past 2 decades, what we've been doing is helping entrepreneurs, startups, as well as small and existing large businesses and the government help develop ideas, whether they're products, machines, processes. We do the engineering, the design, the analysis. Often we do the prototyping. We have an 8,000 square foot shop full of all sorts of machines and things that allow us to make stuff and very complicated things. So over those 22 years, we've probably interfaced with over 400 different clients all over the world. Everybody from, like I said, very small, simple consumer products to very large machines to things that fly. So a few years ago, all of this work, one of the things we realized was that dealing with all these entrepreneurs and businesses, that they didn't always have all the other aspects, the other disciplines or knowledge to help them create a business. Just because you have an idea and you're an expert at that idea doesn't mean you can make it a business. So that led to the formation of the Pie Shop. And so the Pie Shop is a business incubator that is focused around products, and it's a nonprofit. And Kent is what we call our director of product tours. You want to expand on some of this?
I'd be happy to, absolutely. So my position here at the Pie Shop is mainly to go through and work with the entrepreneurs, students of UC Merced Capstone team and Fresno State Capstone team, and go through the phases to see if the product is actually viable for one, two, to also challenge the idea. And that's where Blue Dolphin comes in as well. They challenge the design, the engineering aspect. And then on the other side of that is that I also go through the ideation phase, and then to possibly go into market phase, and then seeing what kind of capital they would need to actually launch to market. So, and a little bit about my background and about myself is I graduated from Clovis West in 2002 and went down to LA and graduated with a psychology communication degree from Long Beach State. Went on to further education at UCLA extended programs for management and business. Worked for an investment banking consulting firm called Grow Like a Tree, Think Like a Brain. Learned a lot about investment banking consulting, feasibility studies, private placement memorandums, and I also was a business development and business consultant there for about 3.5 years. Then I moved back to Fresno to be with my now wife, and worked for a local coffee chain that's still expanding to this day. I was their CFO and general manager for that coffee chain. And then I did some more side consulting, and then Mark picked me up to work at the Pie Shop. And now we're doing a lot more than just product development and product incubation and business acceleration. We're trying to change Fresno and the Central Valley from an economic development standpoint as well. And we're working with city council people on the economic development side of Fresno as well. and working with the universities, of course, because this all kind of stems together and kind of works together, because learning from this process to get people who are young entrepreneurs to, middle-aged entrepreneurs to older entrepreneurs, they need help with either launching or direction where to go, how to get started. And that's why the Pie Shop is so necessary to have in the Central Valley, because there's nothing like the Pie Shop in the Central Valley. So kind of just stemming off what Mark said, this needed to happen in Fresno. And then that's why Mark started it, which we're in the development phase of trying to expand that idea and get everyone involved. So happy to be here.
So interesting enough, you had asked about the PPE, Tara. We, a year ago, which was almost a year ago to the day, I guess, everything kind of went into lockdown, and we were very conscious of that. Blue Dolphin, we were used to working remotely, so it wasn't a big deal for us to all go home and work remotely. We were being very careful at the time because we didn't know what we were into. But it also affected the Pie Shop. And we sort of had to stop operations. We still had members and we were still trying to help them out. But the unique thing about the Pie Shop is that we have an 8,000 square foot shop, and you have to be in the shop to take advantage of it. And although they could still take advantage of being near Blue Dolphin Engineering and get advice from us, the shop was kind of closed for a while. Well, around about the same time that this all happened, there was a maker movement in place that people are using 3D printers and all sorts of, scissors and whatever to make personal protection gear. And we were contacted by some of the makers and asked if they could use, we have 5 3D printers, and we were asked, well, can we use your 3D printers to help us build a supply of face shields and other stuff? And we said, sure, yeah, we'll donate whatever, we'll just start making whatever you need. And as we started doing that, we realized there was an issue in that very slow process. I mean, it was great because it worked, but it's very slow. They could make one every, hour, a couple hours or whatever. It was just slow process. So because we're engineers and we think about stuff, and we have a big 4x8 laser table, we figured out, we had one of my engineers, Cody, came up with a great design that could be laser cut. And we got raw material, and we could make 100 face shields in an hour. And so we got donations from the community.
We got Central Valley Community Foundation donated, right. Hidden Wealth as well.
Hidden Wealth. Yeah. The Hispanic Foundation donated. We got hundreds of donations through other people throughout the community, doctors, whoever. And what that allowed us to do is distribute, close to probably 4,000 of these face shields throughout Valley Children's Community Hospitals, whatever, all over the place, for frontline workers and medical workers. It was an interesting transition, and we were working nonstop all of a sudden to try to make PPE. And then it also led to the Office of Community and Economic Development at Fresno State. They asked if we could make some dividers for their cubicles. And so we came up with a design. Once again, we're engineers, we like doing this stuff. So we came up with a design where we could, using our large 3-dimensional router table, make what we called Flubicles. And what they are these 6 foot by 6 foot by 7 foot tall, basically boxes that you can put around a desk that have a sliding door, and it's all, you can see through it. And so you can see everybody. So it's like wearing a huge face shield, but allows you to have desks, right next to each other, and allowed their office to continue working in some respect, because they have a call center. And so we started making those things. Kent, you might want to talk about some of the, I guess you had to install some of these. So.
Add to that, I got to install, I think there's maybe 10 more left, but I did mostly everything by myself. So that goes kind of back to Blue Dolphin designing something that one person could put up these cubicles on their own. It was actually a great design, didn't have any problems assembling the cubicles. It was just, the problem is getting them in there and having to abide by all the rules and safety rules. So that was the only issue, is just making time so we could work around, the safety protocols that they had at OSED. So, but other than that, came together great. They're beautiful. You can actually see pictures on our Instagram, the Pie Shop Instagram, Fresno, and you can see how they turned out. They turned out beautiful.
Yeah, fun project.
Yeah, very fun.
Some other ways that you've had to adapt to the pandemic for manufacturing and engineering.
Of course, like with most people, our meetings are a lot of Zoom and Teams meeting. We have at least one Teams meeting of our team every week. And we had used it to some extent in the past, so we weren't unfamiliar with it, but that, of course, is an issue. A lot of times when we're working with people, we're working with things that exist. And so it's tough to convey ideas sometimes over a team meeting. And that was one of the challenges. Also, some of the challenges were business. I mean, some of our business just kind of stopped, and as it did for many people. But one of the interesting things that happened with COVID was, for us and for some manufacturers, for example, let's just talk about PPE gear. There are some manufacturers that retooled like we did and did a tremendous amount of business, and still are, in PPE, and which was pretty interesting to see that happen. They had to pivot very quickly, find suppliers, which was the biggest problem, and of material, and start making PPE. But also think about all the food processing that's done here in the Valley. So maybe you had an assembly line where you had workers working side by side making food and packaging it or something. Now all of a sudden you couldn't do that. They had to stand 6 feet apart, and they had to wear masks, and they had to do whatever. Well, what are you going to do when you can only have 1/3 the workers on the line, and you still got to make the food? Well, it means you have to increase your line, or you have to automate, or you have to do all sorts of things. Well, just those aspects, I have to automate, or I have to make another line, or whatever, that created work for us and for other businesses in manufacturing in the Valley. Big challenge, though, making sure everybody's safe. That's the thing. For us, it's been a constant challenge, and we've done very well that everybody's stayed fairly healthy. So it's been pretty good. But some interesting things happen, and some of those things aren't going to change. They won't return back to the normal. Well, they'll be different. So that's some of what we've seen.
So to add to that, we've come up with with another form of learning, an internship. I'm working with Fresno Unified School District and now Clovis Unified School District to create internships at the Pie Shop, and with the students and the high school students, and also the college students at Reedley. We've had to get really creative on how to provide an internship. It's really never been done. I haven't seen one yet, where unless it's a media related or computer related, but having an internship for the future members or the students at a high school level or at a college level. We're actually developing that program right now. And you'd think, well, how does it work? Well, that's what we're trying to work through. We're very innovative here at Blue Dolphin and at the Pie Shop, but we're still working it out. But I think it's going to launch here in about a month or two, and we're going to test it out to see how these virtual internships go for students, because that's one of the drawbacks when you're trying to apply for a college or for a job and you need training on something. How do you get trained, and how do you do internships with COVID-19? So I'm really excited to see how this pans out, the first launch of this virtual internship. But that's what we're kind of trying to be innovative, even at the learning stage and high school levels. So
What are some future projects and plans that you have slated that you would like to share with us?
I'm excited about that one. So we're working with Jerry Buckley. He's the president at Reedley College. And we are working with him and a lot of the other staff members. They took a tour here. We're bridging a program for the students at Reedley College and Pie Shop to come here and use our resources and also make a product or make a thing they're working on that's related to either Reedley College or something, or if they're entrepreneurs, something they're trying to make as well. So we got some files recently. I don't know if I can talk about it yet because it's confidential, but we have we're already getting files from someone who's working with Reedley College to design a structure. So, and they need to make these special, can I even say that? These special braces
Right.
that,
Yeah.
careful.
Be careful. Yeah.
Special braces that they need us that they're going to manufacture here within the Pie Shop. So that's very exciting now. So we're about to launch that program beginning of, I believe, April. So exciting.
What's been interesting, because we have a large shop, is we understood with the social distancing that we actually can have people have a presence in the shop, multiple people. It's a big place and people can be spread out, and there's, it's not confined, and there's huge airflow and everything else. So so that the part that's the most specific about the Pie Shop is still accessible. And so some of the things though have shifted. We had a series called The Entrepreneur's Journey, and Kent was in charge of that series, and we had several events here where we would have everybody here and have food for them and do part of the series, and that had to stop, of course. So that's going to become virtual now, and so that'll be starting soon. Projects wise, it's interesting. We're starting to get people who have transplanted from, for example, the Bay Area now, because they can work remotely. So now they're here in the Central Valley. So we're starting to see people who are, weren't Valley oriented. Now they're here from other areas, and they're starting to utilize Pie Shop and Blue Dolphin. So there's been a shift there, which is a good shift. It's about time that people understand the resources we have here in the Central Valley. And so it's been nice to see that too.
Any specific resources that other people could help you with or that you need?
Yeah, for us, always the big thing for us, for example, this podcast is getting the word out there, getting help, letting people understand what we do and that we are here in the Valley, and that our services are pretty wide and varied. For example, if you're a member at the Pie Shop, you always have the expertise of Blue Dolphin engineers to give you advice, and that alone, if there was nothing else, I have a world-class engineering team here, and we can give you 5 minutes of our advice could help save you 5 months of work, literally. And so we also have a relationship with Coleman and Horowitz, which is a regional law firm, and they have free or low fee type services related to business advice, business agreements, intellectual property. We have a relationship with Sensibo San Filippo, which is a regional accounting firm, and they do the same thing, the SBA. So we have a lot of resources that are available, to the members and whatnot. And so getting the word out there that if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a startup and you need help, that it's here, and it's probably inexpensive or not as much as you would expect, or it's worthwhile at least looking into. So that's a big need from our standpoint. And then another need for that is the Pie Shop is a 501c3. So we're always looking for funding to help sustain the operations here. Where there's all sorts of Blue Dolphin definitely supports the Pie Shop, but we're always looking for different types of funding and donations and that kind of stuff. We have the members pay fees, but we're trying to always balance all those things to help with sustainability. So anybody wants to donate, go to our website. They can donate there, and they'll get a tax-free donation for their taxes. So things like that. Kent, I don't know if you can think of anything that, specifically really, but that we need help with or looking for.
I'm working on with the city of Fresno is retaining and also attracting talent and professionals to the Central Valley. So we need more mentors here. We need more people involved in the community, because those people from the Bay Area and LA, they live here now, and they came from resources where it was like, hey, I can go down the street. I can have a guy who's a couple miles away from me. And now they're here and they're like, okay, we want to see Fresno change too. And they are willing and committed to make that happen. Volunteering for the Pie Shop is one of them, because then they get in the conversation of how to see and how to change Fresno and the Central Valley from within, instead of just being an outsider. So that's what we need, just more community involvement, because a lot of these people from the Bay Area and LA and major cities are moving here, and they see the potential of Fresno. It's just they want to get it started right away. And since COVID happening, we're just trying to get that coalition going right now. So I just think it's just great that people are now seeing that the Central Valley is a place to start a business, and now the city's getting involved, and that's just what's really great about it. It's finally it's happening, and it's kind of shocking, but it's finally happening. It's great.
And if our listeners and viewers wanted to reach out to collaborate or to use your services, how would they best get a hold of you?
But it's as simple as this, since I would have to give my email. It's info@thepieshop.org. That will go to the office manager, myself, and if they have any inquiries about membership, how the Pie Shop works, what machines we have, that email will go to me and some other staff members at the Pie Shop too. So it's just info@thepieshop.org.
Pie Shop is spelled THEPISHOP. So that's the best way. Go to the website. You can see a lot of information there, as well as other contact info there. But info is a real good way of getting a hold of us.
Is there anything else you would like to add before we close for today?
We really appreciate your taking the time with us. As I said, getting the word out there about what we do, it's a constant thing, and it's gaining a lot of organic momentum. So we really appreciate your time doing this. And that's a big thing for us.
Tara and I have also been volunteering for Fresno Unified to help the younger generation, like in high school, sophomores, juniors, seniors, for job applications. So everyone being involved in doing that at a young level really helps just the development of Fresno within, and it retains those people to stay here because it feels like someone cares. So Tara, thank you for doing that as well, and also volunteering your time to interview us in the Pie Shop and Blue Dolphin. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you both, gentlemen. And I hope you have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
I'll see you.